Hello everybody and welcome back to another stream, to the second stream of Diablo. But before we dive right in, I thought it would be nice and neat and whatnot to take a look at the manual that came with the game back in the day. This is actually from Blizzard's website, which is apparently accessible to anyone. I'm just gonna fly over most of this stuff, but there is some, story and lore stuff I would like to go over a little bit, so let's just dive right in. I'm just gonna browse over these pages here rather quickly. The Initiate. Which way is the right path as I stand upon this chaotic crossroads of hate? How many ways are there to roam on this dark and damned road of fate? There are many ways, my son, to find where the souls of demons remain. But it takes only 1 second of despair and of doubt until at last your soul they will gain. Inherit these lands, these things, these dreams that are yours forever to adore. For there is no life in the depths of chaos, my son, for you to explore. Well, that's kind of dark. See Vincent Metzen, I think he's a pretty big Diablo veteran at Blizzard Entertainment and whatnot. He's basically responsible, I think, for all the story and lore and whatnot. This is the installation of Diablo. We don't really care about that. It's nice that they have an instruction set for PC and Mac. That's awesome. Technical support? Well, the email might still be valid, but the rest is probably all bygones by now. This is like 30 years old now. There are a couple of nice quotes here on the sides, here and there, which I just want to skip over. This is all just tutorial and introduction into the game. But further down, there is some lore that I might read because it is actually quite interesting. I don't think there's going to be any spoilers in this because this is the manual and people back in the day, I guess they read that sort of stuff. And we keep that tradition here on this channel. End of tutorial. Okay, overview of gameplay, that's nice. Of course, if you want to read any of that, you are able to pause the stream or the VOD later on. Modem connection, wow. No, we're not playing online, I'm too bad at the game for that. Apple Talk. Ooh, there's some old technology right there. Character summary. Okay, that's just the overview over the stats and whatnot. Resistances. Ooh, look at this. Nice concept art. Awesome. Nice warrior. This is a bit much to read, but I'm gonna read it anyway. The warriors of the lands of Honduras are well trained in all of the weapons of war. Ranging from crusading paladins to unscrupulous mercenaries, warriors can be found wherever there is conflict amongst their countrymen. Many of these adventuresome men joined with King Leoric's army and went to battle against the northern kingdom of Westmarch. As the fires of war burned themselves out, these warriors returned home to find their kingdom in shattered disarray. Dark rumors of the mysterious demise of King Leoric abound, and the evil that lurks within his cathedral has drawn many warriors to Honduras seeking fortune and glory, just like Indiana Jones, by the way. Though they were warned by the people of Tristram, a few of these brave souls have ventured into the chaotic labyrinth beneath the old church, never to be heard from again. Whether they are driven by valor, honor, madness, or greed, new warriors arrive in Tristram every day, ready to challenge the dark unknown that awaits them beneath the earth. The warrior is the strongest and toughest of the 3 available classes, and he excels in the art of close combat. His primary weakness is that his extensive physical training has left little time to develop more than a rudimentary knowledge of magic. The extended periods of time that most warriors spend away from their homes and civilization requires that they learn to repair their own weapons and armor, although their skill is no match for the talent of a true blacksmith. Yeah, we learned that firsthand when our durability fell when we tried that spell. Ooh, look at that. That must be the rogue. The Sisters of the Sightless Eye are a loosely organized guild, shrouded in mystery amongst the peoples of the West. These highly skilled archers employ ancient Eastern philosophies that develop an inner sight that they use both in combat and to circumvent dangerous traps that they may encounter. Known only as wandering rogues in the West, the sisters conceal their secret affiliation by posing as simple travelers. Many pompous fools have made the mistake of underestimating these steel-nerved women in combat and paid a terrible price for their vanity. The strange events transpiring in Honduras have caught the attention of many of these rogues. They have come from as far as the eastern dunes to test their skills against the dark evil that is said to be lurking in Tristram. It is also believed that untold riches wait to be discovered among the ruins of the Horadrim Monastery. Horadrim, I guess, is how they pronounce it. Although not as powerful in close combat as the warrior, the rogue is the undisputed master of the bow. A skilled sister can send a stream of arrows at an opponent, each fired with a seemingly careless precision. The innate sixth sense that all rogues seem to possess also allows them to sense trapped fixtures, and aids them in attempts to disarm these traps. And here we have the sorcerer. Although practitioners of the mystic arts are scarce within the often superstitious and religious lands of the West, many magi, I don't know, have made the pilgrimage from the Far East to see for themselves what horrors lie beneath. The ruined Cathedral of Honduras. Should have read that sentence in its entirety. Anyway, the Veiled Brotherhood of the Vizjere, one of the eldest and most dominant mage clans of the East, has sent many of its acolytes to observe the dark events unfolding in Honduras firsthand. The Vizjere, known for their brightly colored turinage, or spirit robes, have taken a keen interest in both gathering knowledge of demons and seeing them slain. The Vizjere elders hope that their acolytes will learn the secrets of the dark evil that they sense growing in the West and can destroy it. The possibility of discovering long-lost tomes of magical knowledge within the confines of the labyrinth has also captured the interest of many wandering sorcerers. Most magic in Honduras is in the form of enchanted items and elixirs. The Eastern sorcerers have developed a greater understanding of spellcasting than the other classes, and while a Vizjere neonate knows only the simplest of spells to start, he can expect to rapidly grow in power as he discovers new incantations. All sorcerers possess the ability to recharge spell staves by drawing power from their surroundings and channeling them through the staff. Okay, here we get a bit of an overview over all the weapons and stuff we can use. I'm guessing there's also a bit of backstory for each of these, but that's just too much to read. And there is much more later on. This is an 80-page manual, by the way. 80 pages, can you imagine that? Today they don't even put a single page into their packages. Spells and magic. Look at this. Nice. Maybe we should read this. The nature of magic, right? Magic is an extremely powerful... Wait, give me a second. I'm just gonna do this a little bit better here on the screen. Magic is an extremely powerful force, the manipulation of which is carefully studied, frequently learned, but it is never fully mastered. Enchantments exude an aura that can be sensed by many, but years of training are required to properly exploit the mana that pervades our world. Some scholars use natural manifestations to explain the workings of the universe. In a common archetype, the physical world is likened to the sky, while the ethereal realm of magic is set as the ocean. If we follow this line of thought, spells are much like the turbulence that occurs where the two interact with each other. During the Sin War, demon and angel alike wrought powerful magics that threatened to tear the fabric of reality apart. The physical and magical realms began to blur and merge, which, in our archetype, would be the equivalent of a fierce hurricane. The forces of order sought to preserve our reality by limiting the power of mortal man. As a consequence, only the strongest wills can harness more than the most basic magical effects. Even then, much energy is lost in the transition of power between the two realms. As a practitioner of the arcane arts grows more knowledgeable, he is able to create these effects with greater efficiency, resulting in spells that are more potent, have more endurance, and drain less mana in their casting. And there we get the Firebolt, Inferno, Wall of Fire, Charged Bolt, Lightning Flash, Holy Bolt, Healing, Resurrection, Identify, Town Portal, Telekinesis. Frickin' Town Portal, I can't even use that spell, and this is kind of the most basic one, right? Bestiary. We're just gonna enjoy the artwork here and fly over all of this. Although this might be interesting. I'm gonna read. Accurate reports on the nature of the horrors that lie below the church come to light more rarely than survivors. I have attempted to provide a base knowledge of what awaits you by searching through our vast libraries of historical and scientific tomes, recounting the Horadrim's epic war against the Three. Darth Circle, thank you for joining back in. Great to see you here. Hope you're having a good day. We're just reading the manual of Diablo. I hope you'll hang around. It's gonna be a while. I have summarized the information that I discovered, and due to the length of time that has passed since most of the original accounts were written, and the uncertainty surrounding the present evil that plagues this land, I cannot guarantee the veracity of this information. I do, however, believe that this information is as accurate as possible under these trying circumstances. It's known that the three brothers often acted through personal servants. While I would not classify all of these servants as demons, they do represent the most horrible aspects of their masters. What follows is what has been documented concerning the creatures that were known to serve the brothers during the reign of evil. It should be noted that in their battle against the Seraphim, the brothers would constantly twist and change their servants to best resist the powers that they were facing. Two demons of the same physical shape may have dramatically different weaknesses, depending upon the whims of their master. The specific species described herein were those most commonly encountered by the Horadrim. Take the greatest of care when journeying through the cursed lands. It is well known that the creatures of darkness are a cowardly lot, and will attack you using strength of numbers to their advantage whenever possible. I fear the knowledge contained herein is incomplete at best, for there were no living witnesses of the most powerful horrors. If one of the three has truly come free of his binding, he will call as many of these infernal servants to him as possible, as well as creating new and more powerful minions to command. Vicar Orus, Chief Librarian, Zarish Covenant, Brotherhood of the Visionary, so might be a magician here, a sorcerer. The minions of darkness fall into three categories, and are divided according to their masters. Study these words well, for this knowledge may be all that keeps your immortal soul from being devoured by the denizens of the underworld. Mephisto, the Lord of Hatred, Odium. The legions of Mephisto are driven by hatred of all living things, especially those who are pure of heart. He counts as minions both the walking dead, who forever seek vengeance upon the living, as well as a host of demonically corrupt creatures, whose twisted limbs and misshapen bodies leave them in eternal agony and rage. Skeletons, Osium Animentum. I think I'm gonna skip the lower enemies here. Overlords. Is this the Butcher? Kinda looks like a Butcher. We fought him yesterday and won. Let's read this. This looks interesting. Even the Seraphim are not immune to the corruption of the Dark Lords. One such angel, Inarius, was proud of his beauty and boasted loudly of his purity and worth. His thoughts became so clouded that he believed himself to be above both angel and demon, and he left the high heavens to form his own dominion. He constructed a great cathedral of mirrored glass and crystal, and followers flocked to him, drawn by his numinous charm and wealth. Once Inarius had gathered a sizable army, he decided to prove his power. Inarius first laid siege to an infernal temple devoted to the worship of Mephisto, but made the foolish mistake of overestimating his prowess. The armies of Inarius laid waste to the temple and killed the dark monks that dwelled within. The three evils had considered the vain warrior a mere nuisance and amusement until this time, but this was an insult that they could not bear. Mephisto himself is said to have appeared at the Cathedral of Inarius. He laid waste to the church and the surrounding countryside. The Lord of Hatred took the proud Archangel and his followers captive. He bound Inarius with tremendous chains and slowly tore the wings from the back of the angel. Great barbed hooks were then used to stretch out the once glowing skin, and his features were distorted by vile powers. Many of the followers of Inarius were given as gifts to Baal and Diablo, but the rest were molded to match the bloated image of the now crippled angel. To this day, Inarius is said to be trapped in hell within a chamber of mirrors, his eyelids torn from his face as he is forced to gaze upon his misshapen form for all eternity. Wow, that's dark. His misguided followers now serve as hell's taskmasters, taking the anguish of the lost glory out upon the bodies of others. These grotesque demons have considerable brawn hidden beneath their layers of greasy flab. Do not underestimate their strength or their intelligence, for crossing swords with them is ill-advised. You will be far better served to combat them with ranged weapons or magic. Okay, then there are magma demons, there's Baal, Lord of Destruction. The soldiers of Baal seek the undoing of the universe. They strive for ultimate disorder and destruction, and to this end covet the destruction of all they behold. Order is an abhorrence to them, and these creatures are the manifestation of the forces of chaos. Fallen ones, goatmen. Okay, we already encountered goatmen yesterday in the caverns. Spitting terrors, I think we saw them too. Horned demons, yes, these were ones of the last ones we fought yesterday. And here's Diablo, Lord of Terror. Using illusion and fear as their greatest weapons, the attendants to Diablo are formidable adversaries. They prefer to wait for their opponent to display a moment of weakness before they attack. Equally dangerous in the dark or in your dreams, they are the fears of men made flesh by Diablo's will. These nightmares lurk at the edges of mortal perception from the moment that you take your first breath, and they long to be with you when you take your last. There's a typo, by the way, when you take your last. I think they'll fix that 30 years later. Winged fiends, scavengers, the hidden, encountered them as well. Gargoyles, I'm not sure. Are those the bats? I thought they were bats. Librarius ex Horatrim. Okay, nice artwork there. Okay, I guess we'll read this the next time, because this is a bunch of books to read here. We'll keep this for next time. I think that was a long enough intro. Let's go over to the game.